Okay, hi peeps. Now we've got the myo tape. You're going to be putting this information into trainer eyes. Super important to get this right from head to toe, left and right side of the body. Okay, so with the myo tape and the tape variations, we've got two ways you can put it in. You put it in from the top. So all the measurements you do, you kind of have this on top. You don't have it underneath because the tape just falls out. Kind of makes sense when you think about it. The button on all these has that spring tension, and that spring tension is important because if you get the spring tension about right, you don't need to apply any other attention to hold the tape to the limb. So for neck, particularly guys with an Adam apple, you just place it underneath the Adam apple, keep your finger on the nub here to hold it in place, and play around with the tension until it just seats itself there. It just holds itself there. Now I can't see that, so do it in the bathroom, look in the mirror. Okay, that makes a wonderful collar, very sexy. Okay, so that's around the neck. Now you need to do it in all the middle limbs we're going to measure. You need to do the measurements in exactly the same spot each time, otherwise it's bullshit. Try your best to get it the same. Okay, so then we're going to do shoulders. Shoulders are probably one of the trickiest places to do. I pull it all the way around. Again, the nubs are up the top so the tape doesn't fall out. And I come down to the junction point where the delts meet the upper arm. So there's kind of a bit of a notch there. Now, it's holding in place. There's enough tension there to hold it in place. I breathe in and out a couple of times, and then I stand tall, but I relax. Okay? You don't want this falling down, you want it to hold steady. So there's enough tension there to hold it. Then again, you need to look in the mirror, or if you've got the flexibility, you can kind of look down and see the result. But if you look into the mirror for the neck and the shoulders, that will take care of it. Chest, pretty straightforward again. That's underneath the armpits. Armpits. They're called armpits now. Underneath the armpits. Up tight. Try and keep it level all the way around. So you're not just measuring chest. I can't talk English. You're measuring back as well. So keep the whole thing level. Nipple level. Don't get excited. Okay, keep it clean. Nipple level. Now you do this preferably naked, so the tape's on the skin because it holds better. Against clothing, it slips around everywhere, so I do it naked after a shower, bath, whatever. Okay, now you get enough tension again, so it holds in place. You just keep your hand under it doesn't fall off. That's at nipple level. Breathe in and out a couple of times. Done. Okay? Next is waist. Now, there's really two places to do the waist, but we're going to keep it really simple. You want to go around to navel level. Again, I'd be doing this starkers. I suggest you do the same. And because there is a curve on the myo tape, try and find the curves around the body to put it on. Okay, I breathe in, out a couple of times, in, out a couple of times. And keep that tension just enough so it holds there, okay? Squeeze it a couple of times, it tensions up a little bit tighter. Just enough to hold it there. So that's around the navel. Pretty easy to find, okay? Hips, the hip measurement is the widest measurement of the midsection, right? So it's around the middle of the butt, the widest part of your butt, and it's around just the top of your groin. So that position is the widest position around that midriff, around basically the junction of the lower upper body. So when they call it the hips, it's really butt, okay? Right around the widest point. So waist theoretically is the smallest, but it's kind of not. Between your navel and your ribs is actually your true waist, and that's the smallest, but around the navel is what we consider the waistline. Okay, so hips is around really the butt. It's the widest point around. Now again, you apply enough tension there that it just holds there. Okay, now the next measurements are lower limbs. No. I'm getting out of kilt here. Next measurements are arms. Now, I do this again with a nub up, slide up. Now, whatever you do each time, you do the next time. You repeat. Consistency is important. Now, you could do the measurement with a straight arm. Again, tension it up, the nub's up the top, tape doesn't fall off, it just holds there. you're looking for the widest point of your upper arm. So you keep moving the tape around until it's the widest point of your upper arm. Now wherever that is, the next time you do the measure, you do the widest point of your upper arm. Okay, so we're measuring a tricep and bicep here. We're measuring the whole upper arm. I don't measure it this way, I measure it with a right angle. Okay? I'm not flexing, I'm purely keeping a right angle because I started doing it that way and I want to continue doing it that way. So for me, I've got the curve around here. I can measure the result very easily. I can see it here. So I've got my arm at right angles. I'm not flexing it, it's just relaxed, but it's at the widest point with a right angle. Okay, that's the way I choose to do it. You can have your arm straight, the measurement will be slightly smaller, so maybe that's why I have it at right angles, because the muscle isn't so much contracted, but it's a little bit more pumped. Okay, now you do the left side and then you do the right side. Forearm, again, is the widest part of your lower arm. I have the curve just around the top there, so you can see there's no, if I did it on the flat part, it's not quite as accurate. So I'm trying to find the curve all the time. Now, I have my fingers open, and I have my arm slightly bent, and I'm finding the widest point of my forearm. Okay, widest point. Exactly the same on the other side. So the arm is the widest at the top, the widest at the bottom. Okay, and each time you do it, try and get the same spot, but remember, widest on both. Widest around here, around the navel, around here, around here. Now, on the lower limbs, right, I'll have to move the camera. Bear with me. So when I do, it might be difficult to see, I do a right angle measurement. So I have my leg, my thigh at right angles, halfway between the knee and the hip. Now I have some freckles on here. I know exactly where the tape goes when I can see my skin, because I have 2 freckles here, 2 freckles on the other side, and I measure exactly the same point each time. I have enough pressure so it doesn't fall off. I keep the tape on the top so it doesn't fall off. And you've got to measure the same point each time. Okay? When I do the calf, so the thigh is not necessarily the widest measurement, it kind of is, but it's got to be consistent. Halfway between the two is pretty accurate, and you've got to find a way to make sure you get the same spot each time. It matters. With the calf measurement, again, I've got my leg at right angles, I tense it up, and I'm looking for the widest part around my calf, the widest measurement. Again, try and be consistent each time. Okay? So, I'll just raise this back up. Whatever you do with the measurements, wherever you do them, be consistent. You need to be consistent. If you've got freckles or moles on your body, use them as maps. Okay? What you can do too, if you forget what they are, take a picture. Okay, that's what I do. So it took me a while to get used to which freckles to use because they all look the same to me. So now I know exactly which ones they are. Alright, so be consistent. You need to measure the left side of the body, the right side of the body. You need to do this, preferably with most of my clients, is once a week. You apply enough tension, not too much tension, you get used to that. There is a skill with this. It takes probably half dozen times to get it about right. I know when people are doing accurately and inaccurately, I take that into account as well. I understand this is quite tedious, but you will get it, stick to it. Okay, got any questions about how to measure, what exactly to do, how to put the information into the app, just ask. Okay, thanks guys.